This indicator is that direction of development is proximodistal, muscular development from center to outward. Gross motor like holding glass with whole hand comes before fine motor like pen grip. पेन को पकड़ना फाइन मोटर. सेफालोकॉर्डल हेड टू टो, सिर से माथा से टो तक. सेफालोकॉर्डल मात्र हेड बॉडी टू आउटर साइड. प्रॉक्सिमोडिस्टल्स. The free will versus determinism argument is all about free will, determinism. Free will means whether behavior is caused primarily by choice, इच्छा और produced by factors beyond one control. किसी का कंट्रोल के बाहर से इच्छा. फ्री विल. इट इज एक्शन. डिटर्मिनिज्म. बिहेवियर caused by genes, environment, unconscious forces. Conscious force नहीं, इच्छा. Nature versus nurture. Which of the following period is usually the most sensitive to the ill effects of exposure to tetragenic agents. Usually the most sensitive to the ill effect. Tetragenic agent. Embryonic period. Ill effect of the exposure to tetragenic agent. Embryonic period 3 to 8 weeks पोस्ट कंसेप्शन के बाद बच्चा जब रहता है. मेजर ऑर्गन्स फॉर्म सो हाईएस्ट वल्नरेबिलिटी टू टेराटोजेंस. जर्मिनल फर्स्ट 2 weeks. fetal 9 weeks to birth. Germinal first 2 weeks. Fetal 9 weeks to birth. 9 weeks. Focuses primarily on educational, social and career adjustment problems. Focuses primarily on educational, social and career adjustment problem. Career. Counseling, psychology. Psycho में normal development. Psychology means research. Education, career, social adjustment. Clinical, severe mental disorder. Educational, social and career adjustment problem. Primarily on educational, social, counseling, psychology. Education, social, career or psychology. Counseling, psychology means normal development issue, education, career, social adjustment. Clinical psychology means severe mental disorder. Clinical psychology. Mental disorders, psychology. Curly hair of a person is an expression. Curly hair means phenotype, outermost characters. Phenotype. Genotype means innermost. Any trait, any quality. Genotype means genetic makeup. Phenotype is observable expression of genotype. Observable. Visible. What is brain lateralizations? The dominance of one hemisphere of the brain is specific function. Dominance of one hemisphere of the brain. Lateralization equal to specialization of a hemisphere. Left hemisphere for language in most people. Right for spatial tax. Spatial means spot location. Brain lateration means dominance of one hemisphere of the brain. Passive function. Cerebellum control. Balance, moving, balance, posture, motor learning. Cerebrum, thinking. Hypothalamus, motor learning. A is reticular formation. B hypothalamus. Cerebrum. After Ramesh learned that penguins can fly, she modified her existing concept of birds. The best illustrated process of learn the penguins cannot fly, नहीं उड़ सकते. So modified her existing concept. Accommodation means वासस्थान. Modifying existing piaget schema to fit new information, new location. Accommodation. Upajajana. Adaptation upajajana. Accommodation. Assimilation means penguins cannot fly. She modified her existing concept of birds. Modify. Fit into new schema. No. But assimilation means fitting new information into existing schema. Existing schema. Assimilation माने same environment में adapt करना. And accommodation means new environment में adjust करना. Which of the following is not true about endorphins. Endorphins enzyme है. Actually neurons are insulated with myelin. Oh, neurotransmitter likes endorphins. Endorphins are peptides that reduce pain, cause runners high. Pains cause endorphins in hormone which decrease pain. पेन को डिक्रीज करता है. As per Bronfenbren's ecological model, which of the following factors influence child development at the level of exosystems? Child development at the level of exosystem. Ecological model, Ben of France. Father's workplace. Development at the level of exosystems. Exosystem means a setting child does not directly participate in, but that affect them indirectly. Microsystem. Exosystem actually. Family, peer, group, school. Microsystem, family, peers, group. The exosystem setting a child does not directly participate. Father's workplace. Exosystems that not directly interact with the child for development. Father's workplace, exosystem. Peer, house, group, school, so endosystem. Following is not true about actually naturalistic observation. ट्रू कौन सा ट्रू है? नेचुरलिस्टिक ऑब्जर्वेशन. नेचर में सर्वे, इंटरव्यू, ऑब्जर्वेशन. Naturalistic observation, watching behavior into natural setting without interference. Naturalistic observation. Actually, that survey by interview. Naturalistic observation means watching behavior in natural setting without interference. A, B, C, and without interference. Naturalistic observation means not outsiders, participant behavior. खुद से ही, not any outer person involved. If the variable is interval scale, we cannot say variable is interval scale. A score of 20 is twice the score of 10. A variable is interval. Interval scale has equal intervals but no true zero. So rations are 20 degrees Celsius twice as hot, 10 degrees Celsius. The intervals. But a gender identity. Personal gender identity means personal identification with a particular gender. Gender identity means particular gender. One's internal sense of being male, female, both either, neither. A gender stereotype means sex. Gender identity means personal identification. Which of the following correctly describe the retina? Part of the eye that converts the electromagnetic energy of a light. Part of the eye that converts the electromagnetic energy of light to electrical impulse. The electromagnetic energy to light to electrical impulse for transmission of the brain. It converts the electromagnetic energy light to electric impulse for the transmission to the brain. Retina contains rods, cones, photoreceptor, photolight, optic nerve, basilar membrane, ear, lens. Magnitude of a calculated chi-square. Chi-square's values depends on the chi-square means difference between observed and expected frequencies. Magnitude of a calculated chi-square. Difference between observed and expected frequency. Magnitude of calculated chi-square value depends on difference between observed and expected frequency. Chi-square value, observed and expected frequency. Observed and expected frequency. Magnitude of a calculated chi-square value depends on the observed and expected frequency, chi-square. Observed and expected frequency, chi-squares. The following statement about sleep is incorrect. Sleep, non-REM sleep occupies 20% of adult sleeping time. Non-REM. Incorrect. Actually, non-REM 75-80% of sleep. Decrease heart rate. Non-REM. REM is 20-25%. As increase heart rate, BP, brain activity, deep sleeps. REM 20-25%. Mean is to standard deviation as to center tendency. Center tendency, variability. Means is measure center tendency. ST. Standard deviation is measure variability. So center tendency proportional to variability. Mean measure center tendency. Standard deviation measure variability. So center tendency proportional to variability. Just noticeable difference refers to just noticeable difference. Smallest level. Noticeable difference means Practice. Smallest level of added or reduced simultaneous. Stimulation required to sense that a change in stimulation. Smallest level of added or reduced stimulation. Absolute threshold. Psychophysics. The smallest level of added of noticeable difference or reduced stimulation required to sense that a change in stimulation required to sense samvedan that change in stimulation uddipana has occurred. JND Weber's law. B. Absolute threshold. Psychophysics. C. Perception. Added or reduced stimulations. Noticeable. When two unbiased coins are tossed. Probability. 3/4. At least one head. Head, tail. 3/4. Four outcomes. But three. At least one head. Top-down processing refers to top-down perception that is guided by higher level knowledge. Top-down processing refers to top-down perception that is guided by higher level knowledge. Experience, expectation, motivation. पहले motivation, उसके बाद expectation, then experience, then higher level knowledge. Conceptually driven as context by knowledge. To interpret, D describes bottom processing. A. Perceptual constancy. C. Depth perception. Describe bottom up processing. Perceptual constancy. Perceptual. Top down processing means perception, then higher knowledge. First motivation, then experience, expectation. Language acquisition device refers to language acquisition, an innate program that contains schema for human language. Language acquisition device refers to an innate program that contains a schema for human language. Schema. Language acquisition means schema. Chomsky, language acquisitions. Innate mechanism that explains how children acquire knowledge quickly. Schema acquisitions. Innate program that contains schema. Think about object only in terms of their typical uses. Thinking about object only in terms of their typical uses is known as functional fixedness. Thinking about the objects only in terms of their typical uses. Functional fixedness. Dunker, cognitive bias, limiting problem solving. Limiting problem solving, cannot see box stand only as container. Thinking about objects only in terms of their typical uses. Functional fixedness. Typical uses is known as thinking about objects only in terms of their typical uses. Typical use code thinking about object. Functional fixedness. Thinking object means object fixed. Functional fixedness. Typical uses. Cognitive bias limiting problem. Dunker. Cannot see box stand only container. Cognitive bias. Study of the attribution focuses on. Attributed focuses on. How people identify causes. Study of the attribution. How people identify causes. Attribution focus on attribution theory. How we explain behavior. Internal versus external causes. Study of attribution focuses on how people identify causes. Study of attribution focus on how people identify causes. Attribution theory. How we explain behavior. How we explain behavior. Internal versus external causes. Identify causes. Attribution means identify causes. Identify. Question. Left temporal lobe. Left temporal lobe in area. What is the most people particularly involved? Left language. Right.